5-pager, pages 1 of 5, is for FY 2014. And you can see there's a yellow bolded highlight with the basic need in 2014 was 5,680. So that first column there shows each district's basic need that came from the foundation funding calculation. Alaska Gateway's basic need was $7,767,059. The 5 pages walk through the entire calculation. I'll just point out a few of the highlights. Page 1 summarizes basic need, and we know that basic need is the funding, that the formula with all of its provisions, the school size, the ADM, the geographic factors. Basic need is what the final calculation of the funding for each district under this formula will receive. So once we have basic need, then the next question is who pays? And that's required local effort, a portion of impact aid, and state aid. So that's what this first page is showing. As an example, we'll look at Alaska Gateway with their $7,767,059 is what they were going to receive in basic need. You can see that under the impact aid, $283,302 of their funding came from impact aid. State aid provided $7,483,757. There's a quality schools provision that is added to the funding, and then the last column there shows the total state entitlement. So the left-hand column shows the total basic need, and the funding comes from required local effort, impact aid, and state entitlement. So that page 1 is what you're looking at for funding levels for FY 2014. The details in pages 2, 3, 4, and 5 are the calculations that got us to the information on page 1. And many of us have looked at the overview out online and looked at the Foundation 101 overview, and this is the same layout. We continue to present it the same way. After that 2014 5-pager, there is an additional page. It has yellow highlight that says HB 65, $25 million on adjusted ADM. In 2014, there was an additional allocation allocated in the same manner as Foundation, but not part of the Foundation program. And so the $25,000 allocated statewide, you can see what was allocated to each district. That'll show the 2014 funding. For comparison, I want to move right on to your next 5-pager, and you'll find that because where the first column is yellow highlighted for basic need, the BSA for 2015 is 5,830. So you can compare that. If both of those page 1 of 5 are in front of you, you will see the increase in basic need. You will also see at the bottom of the page in yellow where in 2014 the total foundation formula generated $1,410,795,164. 2015, that number again in yellow highlight is $1,450,994,367. So I believe that was the question that was posed to the department, was to just give a summary side-by-side of FY 2014 to FY 2015. So there you can see it in basic need. Again, who pays basic need? That comes from the second column in, required local effort. If you have those 2 pages in front of you, you can compare the 14 to to the 15. And again, the impact aid, the deductible impact aid, was at $70.4 million in 2014. It's projected, not finalized, at about $67.6 million in 2015. And the very last column shows the total of state aid in 2014 compared to 2015. So that's just a very simple summary of comparing 14 to 15. In addition, in 2014, there was $25 million distributed outside the formula. If you look at page 5 of 5 of your 2015, you'll see there's $42,953,500. It's yellow for you. That is the money that was distributed outside the formula for 2015 in the same manner as AADM, Adjusted Average Daily Membership. That's the total of the foundation funding by district that went out to districts.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm going to jump in here to be sure that the folks can follow. We don't have colored copies, and our problem, but I think that our folks can see where it's highlighted, where it once was colored. And I'm just checking to be sure if we have any questions and everybody's able to follow. And, okay, continue. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Great. Okay, so are there any questions on item number 1, the comparison of the FY14 to the FY15 funding levels by district and these two packets, the 5-pagers that you've been supplied, before we move on to the next question you have for us?
You bet. Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One thing I just want to bring forth is on your 2014, you have required local effort, and then on the 2015, you make a distinction between minimum required local effort. Those are actually the same thing, right?
Correct. I would have to look at my proofreader for some further guidance, but those are the exact same thing, and there's not meant to be any nuance whatsoever. It's just these are work papers we prepare to calculate the funds, and just a little bit of difference. There's no intended nuance there.
Okay, and a follow-up, Madam Chair. So only because we're going to talk about the Ketchikan portion of it, but I think using these charts will make it a lot easier if I can have a little leeway, Madam Chair.
Please.
If I understand correctly, if that is to be upheld, if I'm looking underneath that required local effort, that would be the amount of money that would not have to be paid by the municipalities. Is that correct?
Essentially, that's correct. I without wading into the lawsuit, yes, that is the 4.198727. That is the required local effort, the often referred to as the RLC for Ketchikan.
Right. And so, but the other part, so, we're not necessarily talking about $220 million because the department then would take in the eligible federal impact aid. And if those here would look down, you would see how some are 100% and then goes down to 29.8, 7.7. It's kind of all over. It is my understanding that if this lawsuit is confirmed, then the impact aid portion would also change by the department where, and I use Fairbanks for an example, that way I'm not picking on anybody. Right now we have an impact aid of $13,670,000. Only a portion of that is currently offset. All of that then would be offset, correct? Everything would say, basically everything would say 100% under impact 8% if we assume that we're not going to appeal the lawsuit or we don't overturn it.
If there's probably a lot of different ways you could rake through the regulations and numbers, but if